we go again then. Another game on the horizon. Fulham versus West Ham United. An absolute must-win game for West Ham in our bid for survival. I've said that a few times this season. I've also said that it's the biggest game of the season a few times. But this one probably does come into that category as well. It feels like a really pivotal midweek round of fixtures in the Premier League. And yeah, if we are going to survive this season, we need to be taking 3 points from this game. On to Fulham. What a terrific job Marco Silva's been doing. I mean, he's been linked on a few occasions over the past few years to West Ham, and I've always liked the idea of him being a West Ham manager. And obviously he wouldn't come to us now. He's doing a very good job at Fulham, and why would he come to West Ham at this point? But over the years, he's done a very, very good job. And he's a proper Premier League manager, a proper modern-day Premier League manager. Good tactically, seems to have good sort of motivational skills, like he gets his team up for the big games. And has got a real good balance in that Fulham squad. I think he's just an all-round good Premier League manager. And it would have been nice to see him in the dugout for West Ham at some point, but it doesn't seem to be the case. But like I say, he's doing a very good job, and he's got a team that, like I say, can do a little bit of everything, which is a sort of team that we don't seem to do too well against over the past few months. A team that is comfortable in possession, very comfortable in possession. Again, is the sort of thing that we don't play well against. I think we're better when we allow teams to have the ball and then counter on them, but they're not particularly good on the ball. I don't think Fulham come into that category. I think they're very good in possession. They've got plenty of movement, plenty of rotation in that sort of front four of a 4-2-3-1. But they can also hit you on the counter. They can also defend deep and let you come onto them and then hit you on the counter. So they've got a bit of a mix of everything. They've got strength, they've got physicality in that team across the whole team. And they've actually built a really decent squad now. I was watching the game against Tottenham on Sunday, and I saw them bring on Chukwueze. They've got, I think they brought on King as well at one point, and Muniz. So they've got good options. I mean, you think of Wilson, Iwobi, Smith Rowe, Jimenez as well up top. They've got really good attacking options, which is something that we've lacked over the past few years. And I was quite envious looking at their bench, and they've got a few injuries as well, but it doesn't seem to harness them too much. They do have a lot of options, and they've sort of quietly gone about it, haven't they, Fulham? They've not been in the headlines too much in transfer windows where they're spending loads of money, they're making massive signings. They just seem to add one or two every window that seems to come in and be a good option. I've seen Chukwueze play a couple of times this season. I think he's really dangerous. I think he's a really good option for them. Harry Wilson's obviously in really good form. Iwobi's always a very solid option for a Premier League team. You know what you're going to get from him. Smith Rowe probably still hasn't hit the heights that he potentially can, but again, he's another good Premier League player. And they play good football as well. You know, if you're a Fulham fan going to the games, it's not like it's going to be percentage Route 1 football. They play good football, but they don't overdo it either. They're quite direct at times. So I think that's a really good all-round Premier League team is probably my analysis of Fulham. And likewise with the manager, a good overall Premier League manager. And when they had, I don't think they had the best start to the season, or there was definitely a spell where they were towards the bottom of the season. They're never at the bottom of the table or in the relegation zone, but there was a point where you thought like they could be sucked in, but I never had that concern with Fulham. I always felt like they had more than enough to survive. Similar to like Bournemouth really in that sense, that you just feel like once they get the players back and once they get playing again, they've just got more than enough to pick up points both at home and away from home. And again, that's the other point with Fulham. I think they are good at home, but they're also good away from home. It doesn't seem to bother them, which is a sign of a good Premier League team. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a really tough game. I don't think it's a game we've particularly done well over the past few years at Craven Cottage. I think we pick up a couple of points, but I don't think it's been a great fixture for us. I might be wrong with that. Obviously, we lost against them at the London Stadium around Christmas time. That Ollie Scar's mistake really cost us the game in what was at the time a must-win game, and we come away with nothing. But yeah, it's a really big game, big football match for West Ham. Obviously, I think the weekend. Just to touch on the weekend's results, I came out of the game on Saturday, against Liverpool, and just really, really down, really, to be honest with you, because I thought. I know people will say we actually played all right and there were positives to take, but I'm a bit bored of taking the positives, to be honest. I feel like we've said that so often this season, where we're just like, yeah, we've done this okay, but at the end of the day, that's for sort of October, November time when you take positives. That at that point of the season, you can go, yeah, we can take the positives. I don't think you can at sort of end of February, start of March. I don't think you can take the positives anymore. You need the points. It's just as simple as that. And we didn't get it against Liverpool, and just to concede such rookie elementary goals as well just felt, it felt like a real blow, I think, because it's more from a belief point of view at this stage, where I'm not saying we were going to go to Anfield and win, but if you go there and you fight with them and it goes down to the wire and you pick up a point or something, then that feels like a massive point and it gives you that belief. But getting beaten the way we did, obviously we scored a couple of goals and we had a few good moments, but it really sort of knocked the stuffing out of me on Saturday. But then the game was on Sunday. We couldn't have asked for anything better. Both teams losing. I actually thought Forest would have a good chance at Brighton. I thought that Forest would hit them on the counter and cause Brighton a lot of problems. But obviously Brighton got the win, and I thought Spurs at Fulham were just dreadful, absolutely dreadful. That was the game I watched most of, and I was really not shocked, because Spurs have been dreadful for a period of time now, but the way they just this is such a pivotal moment for them as much as anyone, and they just didn't seem up for it in that game. That might change. You look at who these teams have got this midweek round, and you've got Spurs at home to Palace, which, despite Spurs not winning a game in a long time, you still feel like this is a perfect opportunity. Palace looks all right against Man United, but eventually lost, and I think Spurs will be not licking their lips. They can't be licking their lips at any opponent at the moment, but they can certainly look at this game as an opportunity to get 3 points on the board. But if they don't, that's the one thing. If they don't, then you really are asking questions about Spurs, particularly if we go and pick up 3 points. And Forest away at City, again, you would expect them not to win that game. You'd expect City to have too much for them. It wouldn't surprise me if Forest caused them some problems again on the counter-attack, but I'm really hoping that City just get the job done and do a professional job on them and win the game comfortably. And then, it's sort of down to that sort of Spurs at home to Palace and us at Fulham. But I do think that we're at that point now where we need to start winning games again. It sort of doesn't matter. If we can't win games, we're the team in the relegation zone. We can't just be like, oh, what are these teams doing? What are these teams doing? And relying on other teams to take points off them. We need to win games. We haven't won for a while. And I feel like that belief is waning a little bit. And I think that's where this game is massive, because ordinarily Fulham away is not a fixture you go, that definitely would need a win at this point, particularly given where the two teams are. But for the belief of us staying in this league, I almost think we just have to win. We just have to win, because if we don't win, particularly if we lose, you're just going to start to think, well, where is a win going to come from? Obviously, after that, I think we've got City and Villa after the FA Cup, and it's just like, if we can't win here, then where are we going to win? So, massive game, massive context in terms of the overall Premier League relegation scrap. But I think there's a strong likelihood that Forest don't pick up points at City. If Spurs do beat Palace, then maybe that draws Palace back in, but I think Palace will have far too much, to be honest, to go down. But if Spurs don't win, like I say, it will really cast a shadow over them. They will be in real trouble. So it could be a massive, massive midweek for us. In terms of injury news, Fulham actually have a few doubts, which definitely bodes well for us. Kevin is definitely out. He's not particularly a first starter player, but definitely an option for the bench, and he's 100% out by the looks of it, reading up on their injury news. Anderson is a doubt. Wilson is 50-50. Now that's the big one for me. Wilson has been a real sort of game changer in recent weeks. Real sort of not breakthrough season, because he's had some decent seasons in the Premier League. He's been an overall good Premier League player. But I think this is the season where he's really made a name for himself, as it were. And if he doesn't play, I think that's a big win for us. Although that probably means Chukwueze comes in on that right-hand side, and I think he causes problems. Like I said earlier, I think he's definitely got something about him which he'll cause problems for us. And then Lukic, I think he's probably likely to return or at least be on the bench. So a few doubts, a few players out, so there's definitely an opportunity there for us. In terms of our injury news, Pablo's obviously still out, Potts still suspended, and I think Fabianski's going to be out as well. Not that he would start or probably even be on the bench. So yeah, not too much different from our injury perspective. It looks like it will probably be the same team. I wouldn't mind that. I think maybe we bring Todibo back in for Mavropanos, which feels a little bit harsh because Mavropanos has been okay, but it's a difficult one. I'd be happy for Nuno to start the same team again, but I think we've massively lost something with Pablo not being in the team. I don't think we've played well, like really well, since the first half at Burnley away. Now Pablo didn't play that game. We came off the bench, didn't he? But that game we started with Tati and Wilson up top, and I'd be tempted to do the same for this one. Now I know that was Burnley, and Fulham are a much better side than Burnley, and I do think we've been best. That when we've been at our best in this sort of recent upturn of form was, I think, Sunderland at home. Even that first half of Chelsea away. I know we obviously went on to lose the game, but that first half we were brilliant, and I think that's probably one of the best first half performances I've seen from West Ham in a few years, to be fair. And that sort of Pablo and Tati working up top as that front two, I think that just worked so well. And since we've lost Pablo to injury, I think we've really missed that. We've missed someone being able to win the ball higher up the pitch, and it's just meant that we've retreated back a little bit. We've got into our old ways of inviting pressure. And I'd like us to try and rectify that with Wilson and Tati up top. I know Wilson's not the most agile. He's not got loads of legs where he can run in the channels, and I don't think he provides nearly as much as Pablo does in that position. But I think just having Wilson as the main striker, trying to occupy the centre halves, and then Tati floating around trying to win the ball back high up the pitch because he works hard as well. I think that would be my selection for tomorrow's game. I think I wouldn't mind Souček being in, but I would like to see Magassa continue his place, and then Magassa and Fernandes in midfield, and like I say, Tati and Wilson up top. So that's what I'd do. Somerville and Bowen obviously on either flank, and then I'd probably stick with the same back four, but I wouldn't be too sad if Todibo come back in for either Mavropanos or Disasi. Although I'd probably go for Mavropanos to lead the side, and then Todibo to come in if I was to choose between the two. Wan-Bissaka and Juve obviously as the fullbacks, and Hermansen, I suppose you would have to continue with him in goal. Feels weird, the whole situation with Areola at the moment. He seems to be doing more sort of DJing than anything else. It feels a very odd situation, but yeah, that's the team I would go with. In terms of prediction, I'd like to be optimistic. I'd like to sit here and think that we're going to win the game. And I think there is an opportunity. I think it could go either way, this one, which is such an obvious sitting on the fence thing to say. But I do think this could easily go either way. And I could easily sit here and say a West Ham win. And it could definitely happen. I think Fulham have too much for us, though. I think they beat us 2-1. A narrow victory. I think that both teams will score. I think it will be a tight game, though. And I just think Fulham will have too much for us, which pains for me to say. I really hope that's not the case. I hope we can get the 3 points. But either way, like I say, I think it's going to be a really close game, much closer than the weekend was. I hope so. And it'll be interesting to see what we come up with, and if we can walk away with the 3 points. But let me know what you think. Most importantly, let me know what you think in the comments. What your lineup would be and what you predict the result to be. Do you just think, like me, Fulham will have too much for us, or do you think we can actually nick the 3 points? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you on the next one. Come on, you Irons.